Welcome to Sunday school. Wait, today's Sunday, which means you guys are going to be watching it on Monday. Okay, starting next week, these videos are going to start on Sundays. But what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be taking a peek into how I think about problems and finding the solutions when it comes to all things coaching. And this is going to be a very good series to help people make decisions on their own weight loss journeys, or if they're trying to build muscle or anything in between, because I know not everybody, of course, can afford a coach. So I'm going to show you guys how I do things, and hopefully you guys get some value out of it. But before we do that, I actually have a funny story. Last year, almost exactly a year ago, because it was right after summer shredding happened, I was walking through the airport, and at the international baggage claim, and we all know that always takes forever, I saw a guy sitting on his laptop, and he was editing a reel. And it was like really, really crazy, good quality content. And I could tell because, I mean, the edits went hard. So I just kind of like sat next to him and I was like, hey, dude, like, I just want to let you know, this looks super sick. And, you know, the whole like, who the hell are you? Because this is obviously amazing. So it turns out it was actually this guy. And he goes by Happy Not Sad. And at the time, I didn't have that many followers. So when I saw that he had over 200K at the time, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And obviously we connected. And then we realized that we both lived in Calgary. So I guess he recently messaged me and he was like, yo, would you want to come on a podcast? And you guys remember how I said the whole speech impediment thing always kept me from doing podcasts? I figured, hey, why not just break the ice with something in person like this with somebody who obviously is going to be very good at what he does and hopefully be okay with the fact that this is what I might sound like. There's two, and be the cause or be the cause. I'll eat my, which I already, it's good. I already know what I want to do for launch too, and it shouldn't be. Oh shit. So we're gonna go do that first, and then I'm going to take you guys through my cheat sheet of how to deal with most weight loss, social anxiety, mental health control issues, binging, eating, emotional decision-making, weight loss issues. That was a weird sentence. So we ended up talking about quite a few subjects that I don't normally cover. So when it comes out, it'll be collabed on both our channels and you'll be able to check it out, but it gets pretty spicy. So before I even start this, I have to really put this out there that this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's just a general approach that I take when I teach my assistant coaches so that when we deal with issues or people in crisis, they don't necessarily always have to rely on me if for whatever reason I'm unavailable or something, but at least they can try to troubleshoot before I have to come in and then really do a full assessment again of the person to figure out what the problem is. But these are generally things that we try to implement right at the start of somebody's program to make sure that they don't have to essentially struggle for too long. I'm going to try to go through these pretty fast just so we don't have to stick around for too long with too much blah blah. But if any of these you feel as though either you can implement or it helps you or you identify with, just please drop in the comments and then maybe I can just make more videos on that specific subject, because God knows each one of these could be broken down into a whole video very, very, very easily. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to identify the weakness and then how to either flip the narrative, make them think differently, or how we can tackle it. And this is how we usually reframe people into thinking differently. So when it comes to people that suffer from anxiety, and I do not mean social anxiety or the fear of being judged, just straight up anxiety, I like to make them try to think of the gym as controlled spikes. It's a controlled exposure to discomfort, which means they actually get to control when their heart rate spikes, because we all know that when you feel anxious and you feel like your heart rate's going out of control, this is a way for them to control that. And by doing it over and over and over, they can then think about when they're having anxiety and then have something to relate to see if it's real or if it's not. If it's somebody that is dealing with depression or with low drive, this one honestly just sucks. And I'm not going to pretend like there's an easy answer to it, but you have to give yourself a minimum 10 to 20 non-negotiable time that you are going to be active that day. Whether it's just 10 to 20 minutes of walking outside, and if that's what it takes to get you going, guess what? That's enough. And then you celebrate that win, you move on to the next day. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again, and then you build momentum, because we all know that motivation stems from action, not the other way around. When it comes to people that are dealing with ADHD, what I like doing is I'll give them these very short, high stimulus workouts. These are the people that I'm going to be giving the crazy supersets to, the circuit stuff. And if we have to, I will change their workout plan more often, because introducing new stimulus will keep them from getting bored. When they go grocery shopping, a grocery list is a must, because that's what's going to keep you from buying all the stuff you literally really don't need. And for those that have to be a little bit more strict because of certain situations, then I give them new stimulus by giving them new sauce suggestions, or tell them to go in the sauce aisle and try new sauces. Even if it is a bit of a higher caloric option, that's better than completely going off plan and eating something that you really shouldn't, like a burger from McDonald's or something. When it comes to people with binge eating issues, this one will generally take more than one try to figure out something that works for these people, because if you're binging, that means there's some weird emotional mental health issue happening here in the first place. But there's ways to deal with it at first, and then we really take a deep dive into your mental to figure it out. But to make people stop binging, what I like to do is either I will give them more creative recipes, or I will make them do very strict weekly cooking schedules. And if they have to, and if they have to, I make them track their macros so that at least they can really just stay on point. But for the most part, what I like to do is just high volume meals 9 times out of 10. We figure out when the binge happens and then we address it. If it's midday, chances are that you're probably just bored and that you just eat out of boredom, in which case I find you things to do during the day, whether it's a yoga, whether it's some sort of physical activity, whether I make you go outside and walk your dog. That is something that we can implement. Or if it's happening at night, then we figure out, okay, or is it that you're actually hungry? Is it that you run out of calories too fast during the day and then you're binging at night? In which case, I then allocate more calories at night. Or I make sure that your last meal of the day is the most volumetric thing you've ever seen in your life. So a good example for this would be using the Greek yogurt and protein meal that I've talked about and given to a lot of people, because that one very specifically will definitely keep you full until you go to bed. And sometimes if all we have to do is change around the calories, where you have a bit less during the day and then you have everything at night, guess what? If that's what it takes, that's what we're going to do. When it comes to people that are perfectionists, and this one I see a lot, I make them create a to-do list, and it is a very, very, very simple to-do list. You don't need to have 15 different steps for your day to be perfect. You can boil it down to 4 if you have to, which is I drank my water today, I went to the gym, I ate my meals, and then I did my nighttime routine, for example, right? If you have 10 to 15 to 20, 30 steps, keep checking off 30 boxes is hard and it's near impossible. But if you have very few, guess what? You can't miss. So that's why I really sit down with these people, and I'll tell them, okay, what do you like to do during the day? And then they'll try to break it down, and then, okay, let's just start grouping these up. And then as they find success, as they find progress, then eventually we start breaking them down by saying, like, with, let's say, the nighttime routine being, okay, did you make sure to brush your teeth? It might seem simple, but for some that might complicate things. And then, oh, I lowered the lights 1 hour before going to bed. I got off my phone, and these are, again, all very simple things that you do, but you start simple and then you create a more complex breakdown once they find progress. When it comes to social anxiety, that's different from just normal, standard, not triggered anxiety. But when it comes to social anxiety specifically, I'll tell people, before you go in the gym, you can either do some sort of meditation ritual where you sit in your car and you just do some breathing exercises for 2 or 3 minutes. Just breathe in, breathe out, and just focus on getting yourself ready for it. Or if you're more of a chaotic person, then listen to the same pump up death metal songs until you're ready to go. And if you do like this, then make sure to listen to the same song every single time before you go inside the gym, because creating that environment of control helps people with social anxiety to deal with the issue. And then when you get into the gym, you put on those headphones, you lock in. If you have to, you put your hood up and you don't interact with anybody. And this way you can, again, control as much as you possibly can your environment. And this makes people more comfortable to start going to the gym if that's their issue in the first place. Also, telling people that people don't really care about you being there is a pretty good one, because people always think that you're getting judged at the gym, when realistically people are so inside their own minds and dealing with their own body dysmorphias that they really most likely don't give a shit that you even exist in the first place. And that's just the reality of it. When it comes to people with anger or aggression issues, well, this one you can probably guess, but you use your gym as your release. And what I like to do for these people is I end their workouts with the most evil, self-hatred fuel quadruple drop sets. And if they really particularly hate something that day, or themselves or someone else, guess what? I make you run the rack. If you don't know what running the rack is, it means you do every single weight on the way down until you cannot move anymore. It is fantastic, and it gets any shred of anger out of there because you just don't have any energy anymore. And this doesn't only work with anger, but any person that deals with any very strong emotional response. When it comes to people with addictive personalities, this one is fantastic and probably the best superpower of them all. You figure out what the addiction is, and then you figure out how to turn it into a superpower. So me personally, it was video games. 11 hours a day, I would probably consider that an addiction. What I would do to deal with it is very simple. I would only allow myself to play video games when I was doing my cardio. My cardio very quickly became my favorite part of the day. If it's somebody that is addicted to certain foods, you figure out what they are and you see if they are either a trigger or an opportunity. If it's a trigger, get them the fuck out of the meal plan. If it's an opportunity, guess what? You can then have that food at a very specific time of day when they would feel like binging, and then maybe either avoid that time of day because it makes it worse, or put it specifically at that time of day because they're going to enjoy it and enjoy their meal. This is why I said that there is no one size fits all, and usually we have to try about 15 different things until we find the perfect plan for someone, and that's why coaching is such a I find a problem, you find a problem, I found the solution, and we just keep going back and forth until we figure out your perfect routine. When it comes to people that are that seek validation, well, this one is, like, I am the perfect example of this. You post your progress to the public as often as humanly possible, and that becomes your accountability metric. Because if people are watching, you're probably showing up. And then eventually you become the person that people rely for inspiration. And guess what? Then you're screwed. You're stuck in this infinite loop like I am right now. And I have to keep posting because if I don't, I am a failure. It might seem toxic, but guess what? It works. As we're almost at day 60 of me posting every day. When it comes to people that eat emotionally, this one's fun. You replace that. You put a block in front of that emotional eating pattern, which means if somebody knows that, oh, I feel like crap, oh, I'm sad, oh, whatever, I'm going to reach for the Oreos. No, you put yourself 10 minutes. You look at the time, you physically register. It is 7:52 a.m. in the moment, and this video goes out in, God, an hour and 8 minutes, and I haven't made a thumbnail either. So when this happens, you put 10 minutes in front of the eating, which means either you're going to go for a walk for 10 minutes, you're going to sit there and meditate for 10 minutes, you're going to stretch for 10 minutes, journal, I do not care, but you do not eat for 10 minutes. Because when those 10 minutes are up, you're going to be very easily able to register, am I eating because I feel like shit, because I'm pissed off, because I'm angry, or am I eating because I'm actually hungry? In which case, go for it and eat your next meal. For people that fear judgment, this one is very simple. You go to the gym at less crowded hours, avoid peak hours like the plague. If that's the only time of the day where you can go to the gym, then maybe find a new gym that has less people in it, a more private setting. Maybe not a Crunch or a Planet Fitness, but maybe find a little bit of a smaller retro private gym that has less people in it. That might be the solution. Or if it's very, very, very bad, maybe buy 2-3 pieces of equipment so that you can start at home. And by the time that you are ready for that exposure therapy for the gym, because a lot of the time, fear of judgment, social anxiety kind of play together, then at that point, you can then slowly introduce yourself to the gym. If it's people that have control issues, you make them learn to control their own variables by having a very strict approach to nutrition. You give them predictable meals. You give them predictable workouts. You make them track their metrics so that, again, they control their environment. And this way, they take control of their life. People that are lazy, well, I mean, I send them the same Mike Israetel video every single time.
If you have to ask how to get motivated to go to the gym, you don't need to be going to the gym. You don't want it enough. When you're sick and tired of looking and feeling like shit, you'll show up. I'll see you there. Because you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to be like, fuck that. You're going to want to be in the gym. And if you're going to make this a lifestyle, you have to lower the barriers, make the gym cheaper, closer, training partners, exercises you like, and you have to raise the impetus, goals, inspiration, and real desire to be there. People that have no problem showing up to the gym are the people that want to be there. No amount of Rocky Balboa fucking movies are going to get you to that place. A lot of that is also built with the experience of having the gym be a place where you get results by pushing yourself, winning little mini challenges, and having fun with it. Start easy. Get to the gym twice a week, maybe 3 times, 30-minute workouts, 45-minute. Get some progress going. Get into the habit. Make it easy on yourself. Once you're in the habit for long enough, you can start to crank up the intensity and you're going to want to be there.
Honestly, if that doesn't work and inspire someone, then to be frank, well, nothing's going to get you there. But there's other easier things that you can do, I guess. Like, let's say instead of using plate loaded machines, use this stack loaded machines, because that's, again, simpler. And just give them, like, you know, a shorter, closer gym, 20 to 30 minute max workouts, low friction in every possible scenario. When it comes to the meal plan, make it the simplest meal plan on the face of the planet. You're eating 3 to 4, maybe 5 different types of food. Enjoy it. When it comes to people that need to be people pleasing, again, like social media content can really work if you are into that. But if not, you can make sure to have a workout buddy so that you always have someone that you're sort of like feeling like you have to impress. You can do constant coaching check-ins. You can make sure that they're attending group classes, any sort. And most importantly, you make them tell every single person what they're doing, every single interaction that they're having. When it comes to people that are impulsively spending on random shit, especially at the grocery store, you make sure that fitness is the first thing that they're investing in, whether it's like, you know, they make them buy the new gym clothing or the new straps or the new supplements. Again, it seems crazy. It seems like it'd be useless, but it really helps people feel locked in sometimes. If that's all it takes, then shit, that's amazing. And when it comes to people that are financially struggling or that have low budgets, then for them, I only make them buy the foods that they need. We go and we find very like cheaper options, even if it's not, let's say, the highest quality of chicken. And it's like the frozen stuff. If that's all you can afford, that's all you can afford. That's fine. But if you are on a low budget, for God's sakes, delete your apps. Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, all of those, you get rid of them first, because I've had so many people that say, oh, I can't afford this meal plan, it's so much food. And then they delete their meal apps and they realize that they're saving a few $100s every single month, which then gets them to a place where they can afford good, higher quality foods. And for the most part, I mean, yes, of course, I know the grocery inflation is kind of crazy, but you can generally buy healthier options for much cheaper at a portion per portion price than you could some of the more processed frozen items. Not always, not in some cities, locations, and geographical areas, but most of the time you should be able to. And now these are just some of the tricks that I use in my coaching, because every single person will need different approaches. And most of the time, it's not just one of these things for someone, it'll be a combination of which. And this is how that I've been able to help my assistants get better at coaching. And this is how we've created this program that works very well for a lot of people. So if there's anything that you took away from this that you enjoyed, please let me know in the comment section. I have exactly an hour now to edit this, and I will try to have it out by 9 a.m. But thank you for watching. Let me know if there's anything else, or if this style of video works. I think Sunday school could be pretty cool, and we will go from there. But as always, let's change the world together.